We believe, looking at the homework, that she'll need additional classes to bring her up to level of the other students.
Shut up.
Hi everyone, I'm Mr. Milestone and my channel is all about finding your passion, fulfilling your potential and achieving your goals! Today we're back for another episode of my Made It series where we interview people from different backgrounds, different fields. They tell us how they came up and hopefully it will help inspire you. And today I'm joined by a wonderful guest. She's a famous influencer, a brilliant young creative and a viral TikTok sensation that's got over 1.7 million followers. I'm delighted to be joined by Charisse Banton. Charisse, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. Well, thank you for having me. This is really cool. Thank you.
This is brilliant. No, I'm excited. So Charisse, can you start off by telling us a little bit about yourself?
I live in Bedford, and I'm 27 now, and basically kind of came across TikTok by accident, really, in my journey. I found it by accident and then just started creating and just really fell in love with the vibes. And yeah, just started creating content that was comedy based because I was really drawn to it. And just started thinking, oh, how can I make this better? Because I feel like I can be better, but I wasn't doing it. Like you see my early videos, like really awkward. But yeah, I just started thinking, how can I improve this? How can I improve this? And then gradually it just started to grow. And I started to interact with more people because you start to build a bit of community. And yeah, it just kind of grew naturally from there, really, which was really incredible.
Brilliant. No, so yeah, your rise with TikTok's like absolutely phenomenal. Before we dig into that, can you talk to us through what you were doing before you actually became an influencer?
Before that, my goal was to become a solicitor. I was heading for the law route. So I did my law degree. And literally halfway through that, I kind of figured, actually, I don't really want to do this from 8 to 8, like every day of my life. Did some work experience and stuff. I was like, in practice, it's just not really for me. I loved it. I found the whole degree fascinating, but the whole lifestyle around that kind of work life just wasn't for me. So I came out a little bit like, oh, what do I do? And that's when I started working on my own business. And it was through looking at like YouTube videos around marketing that I found someone who mentioned the app. And I was like, oh, what's this? And instead of like going forward with my business and going to the end of that, I ended up building up a personal brand essentially. So that's how that happened. But yeah, for a couple of years between university and me getting onto TikTok, I was working at Rightmove, so a property company, did that for 2 years. And at the same time, I was building up my presence on TikTok essentially, before I was able to like finally transition in 2019. Yeah, 2019.
Awesome. Outside of your work and your studies, did you have any other passions?
Yes, I mean, I love dance. That's like gives me so much energy in life. So that's my favorite thing. I actually want to like find more dance classes now, because I've like kind of stopped. I go to like the gym, do my flexibility and stuff and like work on strength, but I would just love to dance. Yeah, that's the thing. So I think that's my main one. I like to read as well, but dance for sure, my favorite.
And then you mentioned sort of as you were kind of working and studying, TikTok was kind of your side hustle. Did you always have that goal in your mind to blow up on the platform? Was it very deliberate or did it just happen sort of by chance?
No, not to like, I wanted my videos to get that reach. So I started, when I started on the app, I definitely didn't have a goal in mind of like, I'm going to become huge on the platform, like not at all. Because at that point, this was like the first platform I've built like any sort of like real presence and taken it like more consistently, essentially. So no, I didn't have anything in mind there to like, yeah, I'm going to be the biggest one on the platform or anything like that. No, like million followers, like no, not at all. It was more like, oh, I can kind of like grow a bit. And especially back then when I started, because this is my 5th year on the app, which is quite a long time. There was no one in my circle or like anyone really, just generally that even knew of the app. They were like, what is it? Like, what is that? So I kind of felt a freedom to just play about with it. And I was like, okay, let me just see what I could do to just engage with people, start talking, make connections, see if that grows. And it did. And then I'd start to like think about, oh, what can I do now to like actually get this to reach more and more people? So I started to be a little more strategic about it. But I never knew it would get to like this scale. Like that never felt like a real possibility to me. I knew other people had success with the platform, and I was kind of like aspiring to that. I'd be like, oh, that'd be quite cool. It seems like when people get big, they kind of have all these opportunities come to them. That's literally all I understood. But like the realness of actually having like 1 million plus followers is like, yeah, unreal, very surreal. So yeah, I never was aiming directly for that. I just knew, oh, maybe something can come if I grow.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense, and that's really like inspirational to hear. So with TikTok and social media generally, people have to kind of connect with your content. So I've only jumped on TikTok quite recently, so shout out to all 30 of my followers. Big yourselves up. But yeah, why do you think people really connected with your content? What do you think makes it really unique?
I think for my content, I think because I have naturally quite a lot of energy, and I've always wanted to be uplifting, just good vibes, and obviously it's humor based, so naturally it's kind of meant to be uplifting. And because I'm just telling stories, or basically you focus on a moment that people face in real life, because that's how I think of my content really. I'm like, oh, that happened, I can turn that into a TikTok, that'd be quite funny. So a lot of people can relate. Yeah, and I think when you can just bring your own personality to that, and that kind of honesty, like especially like best example is like talking about my periods and stuff, like people go through the same thing, and a lot of people can relate. So you get a connection with them because you're like, oh yeah, it's like relieving to actually like talk about these things and see someone else going through the same thing, but to laugh about it. So yeah, I think that is a big part. My style is like more energy. Other people don't have to be big and energetic though to be successful. Is that connection with the person and that honesty.
So just letting your personality shine and just being genuine and relatable is kind of what's helped you get that following. No, that's awesome. Now with your influence and your kind of following, brands are soon to follow. You know, that's just how the game goes, and that's great. So can you talk us through how it was sort of securing your first brand deal?
Yeah, no, that came completely by surprise. So this was when I was working full time still. And it was a slush company that reached out to me. And the worst question they asked, like, oh, we'd like to work with you, but like, what's your fee? I'm like, I don't know. I have no idea what my fee is. What should I charge for like this kind of thing? Like never had this on my plate before, and there wasn't even like that much information on like Google and stuff. It's so hard because like even now it's such a black and white area and subjective, and like all these different factors come into like the price, so it's not like one set thing. So I was like, what the hell do I do? I was really like nervous, but we agreed a fee and they were happy. We just went ahead of it. So that was amazing. And they actually got me out into a venue in Milton Keynes to go and film the content as well. So it wasn't like just film it at home. They put in a lot more, elements to it really that I could really play about with. So it was really, really cool. I was really excited, but definitely came out of the blue. And then I think from there, it just started to come in more regularly. Like, oh, there's another one that wants to work.
Flowing in.
Yeah,
awesome.
It was really kind of bizarre. And then you just start to get used to it because obviously, yeah, it just starts happening more and more. But yeah, definitely took me by surprise.
So when you completed that first one, talk us through how you felt. Did you believe it was happening? Did you have to pinch yourself? Did it feel surreal?
Really surreal. It was, yeah, because like the whole experience, especially like I say, like going out to another venue to film the content there. Like it was at a mini golf course, but they had an indoor part to it. So I was indoors, there's people there like doing their mini golf, and I'm there doing my TikTok. And it's just so bizarre thinking like, I'm actually going to be like paid for this. And then I like go back to work and they're talking about it. I'm like, I just got paid for like a TikTok. It's so like bonkers to me. But no, it was incredible. And it started to sink in like the opportunities that are really there. Like, oh, I've just got paid X amount just by doing, like, in that case, it was a couple of videos I did for them, which is really cool. So like, wouldn't it be amazing if more do come? Yeah, so it was definitely a pinch me moment for sure.
Yeah. With success always comes a few challenges. You're a really now prominent, well-known figure. How do you deal with being someone like that on a day-to-day basis? How has that changed your life?
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting. I'd say what's lovely is when you go out. Like, I go to Tesco. I love Tesco. I do my shopping.
Big up Tesco.
Yeah, literally. Honestly, I'm a big fan. And like, there'll be someone there and they just go, oh my God. I'm like, okay, they probably know me from TikTok. And I have to kind of gauge, like, oh, have I met them at like a family party, or like, do they know me from like TikTok or something? So that's really lovely to actually like meet people who have like connected with your content in some way, and like the messages that you get from people in your community saying like, oh, it's been going through like a really tough time and your videos have just really helped me to stay happy. Like, I get that a lot, and that's so nice to hear that it has an actual like genuine impact on people, like, because you don't realize when you're just putting out the videos all the time. So that's been really lovely. But in terms of like challenges, I guess a big one for me is like, especially now, this is like my full-time work, getting too caught up in the views and how is everything performing, because they're going to look at your whole account to decide whether they're going to work with you. So it feels like you've got so much pressure to make everything really good. Otherwise, well, they might not want to work with me, sort of thing. I mean, that's my income. So that was quite hard. And I think I struggled quite a bit with that last year. I'm in a much better mental space with that now, but it was really tough. I had to just take a break from it in the end. But yeah, that's been hard. I don't know if I had something else in my mind, but it's gone. So we're going to stick with that.
So you've had fun with it. You've enjoyed the high moments, but you've had to kind of build up a resilience along the way to sort of cope. But that's really great to hear and very positive. So look, Tesco, if you're watching, give Charisse a brand deal. Let's make that happen.
Honestly, F&F, they're close. Underrated.
And then I guess across your journey, are there any other key things that you've learned about yourself along the way?
Yeah, I think believing that you can actually do these things, like, because everyone kind of thinks of themselves as just another person. Like, oh, is there anything special about you? Like, we don't necessarily put ourselves on that pedestal. Like, I can be really great, or in this position where I've got this like huge following, or all those kinds of things. But like, once you're there, you're like, no, genuinely, like, anyone can. They really can. And there's nothing special about anyone that has got to whatever position they are now in, of like success, whatever you kind of deem success as. So I think that's been a really big learning curve for me, because I now have more confidence in myself to go after different opportunities. Like, even some opportunities come to me and my initial hunch might have been, oh my God, like, why are they asking me? Like, I can't do that sort of thing. Whereas now I'm a bit like, oh no, yeah, I can do that. Oh, and actually I do have some knowledge that I can share that is going to be useful to people, and all these different sorts of things. So that's been a really, really big part. And also not being so swayed by what other people think of your content. Like, there's always going to be people that don't enjoy what you do, and that's completely fine. It's just not for them. But there's always still a pool of people who do really enjoy it, and that's who it's for. It's the same with like any business or any social media account, anything. There's always going to be a certain group of people that they're serving, and if it doesn't serve you, that's fine. You just scroll away, move on. But if it is for you, then great. You've got to focus on that. So always stay true to like what you want to create, basically. So that's been a big
Ooh, I love it. Stay true to yourself and what you want to create. And if it happens, it happens. That's the key, major key.
Yeah.
Love that. So you're clearly very charismatic and creative, and you've got this high energy, which I love. How do you develop your content and ideas and then publish them so consistently? Because it's not easy for anyone watching. That's not easy at all. As a creative, I can tell you that myself.
It is a lot to keep it consistent. Because even for like, you think, oh, it's the TikTok, it's just 15 seconds long. Like, that 15-second video can take like a few hours, can take 4 hours sometimes. Like, especially for mine, because I like to put more thought in behind sketches. So I've like come up with an idea, write out the sketch, and obviously filming it, making sure it actually makes sense, editing it together to make sure like all the timing is right, because if you get the timing wrong, then the humor can be off. So there is a lot more that goes into it than just being, oh yeah, just going to put up the camera and it's like done, 15 seconds. So yeah, for me, I have in my notes app, I literally have scroll long pages of my notes of ideas that I've just collected along the way. I just do it when it comes to mind, basically, so that I have something to refer to. And then when I'm like, okay, let's do some content today, I flesh those out and like write them out. What's it going to be? What's that going to look like? What music am I going to use if there is going to be music? And basically just plan it from start to finish and film. Yeah, so that's how it works for me. It's definitely better to like bulk your content in advance, like have some ready and then go. But I must confess, I'm not great at doing that all the time. I end up sometimes just doing it like on the day. So yeah, it definitely helps to do it in advance and like bulk create, because then you're in that flow. You can just keep going, have all this content, even if the editing comes later. That definitely helps.
No, great tips. I couldn't agree more. So write down those ideas as soon as they come to you. Make the time to flesh them out when you can, and then try to sort of bulk film or record when possible. Great tips. And then I guess for me, I guess it's clear, all the skills that you've built up along your journey, they can be transferred across multiple arenas and avenues. Have you got any hopes and aspirations for where this might take you next?
Yeah, no, I do. So I was toying last year with where I wanted to go with it, because I knew for myself, I didn't want like my main thing overall that I'm doing to be content creation. Like, I don't want that to be my main source of income. I want it to be something else. So I was toying with different things. I was like, okay, could I go down the presenting route? Because I've had a lot of people say, especially on the back of like my live streams, like, oh, you'd be really good as like a presenter. I'm like, do you know what? I'd really enjoy that. So I was looking at that route, like radio hosting, whether I do my own podcast to kind of go that route. And I decided in the end to go towards acting. So I've actually started training now. I've got an agent, so that I can essentially improve and get myself to a place where hopefully I can feature in whatever TV shows or films that are being created, or potentially even create my own. That's a lot of the advice I've been getting along the way is like, write your own material. I'm like, oh, okay, that's quite interesting, because obviously I write a lot of my own stuff already, so it's already a little bit of a stepping stone, but completely different format and that sort of thing. So yeah, I'm excited for the challenge for that, because it is a different industry. But no, I'm really excited for that.
Oh, so am I, and I can't wait to sort of see you in a big feature film soon and a big TV show. And I think you've got all the skills clearly to do it. So that's very exciting. And then I guess people want to know what's the secret sauce. So for people that want to really blow on TikTok, what would be your top 3 tips that you'd share with them?
I would say, for one, definitely be yourself and be true to your values. Don't feel that you have to be swayed by other people. You do what you want and do what you enjoy. So that's number one. Plus as well, because it will attract people. People can sense when you're not being yourself. So if you are yourself, one, it's much easier, and two, you're going to attract the right people. So win-win. And I would also say if you can be consistent, like do it regularly, I would recommend once a day. But if you can do more, it definitely helps on TikTok, like 100%. But don't burn yourself out. It's never worth it. So if you need to keep it regular in terms of like every couple of days, every few days, just having some sort of rhythm around it at least will help. So if you are keen on doing that and blowing up on TikTok and getting an audience, then yeah, keep some sort of regularity. Third point, I would say put your own stamp on things. Like, it's great. And don't feel like you had to follow each other, because TikTok is very trend based and everyone thinks, oh, I've got to dance. Oh, I've got to like do this trend to like be a TikToker. Like, you don't. You really don't. Honestly, the more you use TikTok, the more you realize there's literally content from every single niche you can think of, from literally comedy to like psychology to witchcraft. Like, no exaggeration. There's just everything, and they all present it in their own way. So don't feel that you have to follow the trends. You can completely be yourself. You can just talk to the camera. You don't even have to show your face if you didn't want to. Voiceovers work really well. So there's really everything, I feel, for everyone. So don't feel sucked in, and put your own spin on it.
Awesome. Some fire tips there again. And then just looking more generally, what advice would you give to any young creatives that want to go out and do their own thing?
I think have the believe that you can do it is so important, because there's so many people like, oh, I'd love to do that, like, but I'd never be able to. I'm like, oh my gosh, you can. Like, it's so possible for everyone. And bear in mind that you're not necessarily going to get the results you want straight away. Like, I think that puts a lot of people off. They're like, oh, I've been doing it for a month and I haven't like grown much. I'm like, you've been doing it for a month. Hello. Like, not everyone blows up in 2 months. Some people do if they have like the luck of the draw. Like, congrats to them. It's not the same story for everyone. At least for me, I was creating content on the platform for, I would say, the first 2 years. I had like growth, but the real exponential growth came after that. Like, I mean, literally like whoop. So that, for me, that wasn't any wasted time, like at all. That was so worthwhile. And if it takes you a bit longer to get there, but it's something that you really want, it's 100% worth it. I promise, when you get there, you're not looking back thinking, oh my God, I spent all that time, I regret doing that. It's like, no, you're there, like you've got it. Like, that's so good. So if it is something that you really want, keep going after it for sure.
Ooh, keep going after it, chase your dreams, and don't listen to what anyone else has to say. Love that. So Charisse, how can people connect with you on social media? What platforms are you on?
So my active ones are obviously my TikTok, Charisse Banton. But if you wanted to like actually like message and stuff, Instagram and LinkedIn are my best places. And I'm Charisse Banton on every platform, which is quite handy. Thanks to mum and dad for the unique name. So yeah, I'm pretty easy to find.
Brilliant. Well, Charisse, thank you so much for joining me today. I've loved it. I've been inspired. Hopefully you have too. If you enjoyed this content, please like, comment below if you've got any questions for Charisse, or if you want to see more content like this. And if you haven't already, subscribe, because I've got lots more content to come. So thanks for watching, and let's keep chasing those goals.